Maybe I should turn this light on too. Or just sit over here in the shadows. Nobody needs to see all this. I just let my hair dry naturally today, and this is what it does. Some of it's still growing out from the illness that I had. This is how long the new hair is. It's not terribly long, but I've only been growing it since I got over the dengue fever. Here's a tip. If you've ever had dengue fever and your hair fell out after you got over it, what I started doing when the hair started falling out was I started rubbing coconut oil in my scalp. If you look in this section for ethnic hair types, you will see things that are for massaging into the scalp. A lot of them contain either olive oil or they contain coconut oil, and those things really do seem to help. Also, I've been taking a biotin supplement, which is good for fingernails and hair, also for your skin, and just, I guess overall, it's a vitamin B type. It seems to have helped mine start growing back. I mean, I lost quite a bit. It got very thin. At the ends, it's pretty stringy. So this is the old hair, what I had left of the old hair, and then the new hair is starting to grow in. So coconut oil, rub it in the scalp. Yes, it will make your hair feel greasy, and while I was doing that, I was pulling my hair back into a ponytail, so you couldn't really tell. It didn't really matter. It kind of looked like a styling product. And I would also just go ahead and comb it through to the ends so that the ends could get a treatment as well, because it's, I don't know, my hair is pretty damaged anyway. This part of my hair feels really good, so if I had just chopped off this part I would have some really soft hair, albeit short, but it would be at least soft and healthy feeling. Anyway, so that's hair adventures. For those of you who care about that sort of thing, you might be hearing coughing in the background every now and then. Sarah has stayed home from school today because she has a dry cough and it's kind of frequent. I think what's happened is we've all gotten over our colds, but she's still having a little bit of nasal drippage or whatever, and it's causing her to cough a lot. No other symptoms, no fever or anything like that. So I think she's going to be okay, but she has this dry cough. This is kind of a thing that I want to talk about today because Sarah and I were talking about this. This kind of coughing you can have for a couple of weeks at least, maybe longer, I don't know. You can have it and no other symptoms, nothing else wrong. It's just an annoying cough, and of course you want to watch it. And if you do get a fever with it or whatever, you probably want to go to the doctor. The thing that Sarah and I talked about was that at school, when she talks to the teachers, and I know she talks in depth because she likes to talk to people, she's been asking them about her cough, and of course, naturally, the teacher is going to say, you probably need to go to the doctor. One of the things around our house that is a big issue is going to the doctor. Some people, it's not a big deal, just go. Some people have health insurance, they're able to just go to the doctor anytime, or they have extra money that they can go, and it's not a big deal. In our house, probably for many years now, we have to really think about when we're going to go to the doctor. We have to be extremely ill before we go to the doctor. And it's one of those things where we sit there and we say, just how sick are you? Do you really feel that bad? Is it something that you can stay at home and we can treat at home and it's not a huge deal? So her frequent coughing is becoming one of those times where we have to decide, do we go to the doctor or not? There's no other symptoms. There's no fever. It's not catching. Nobody else is getting it. She seems to be able to breathe just fine. So it's one of those things where we tend to just wait it out because we can't afford to go to the doctor just anytime we feel like it. We don't have health insurance. We aren't one of those people that are poor enough to get any kind of aid, but we're not wealthy enough to be able to afford health insurance and to be able to afford to use health insurance, even if we could pay for health insurance. This is the way it's been before Obamacare and after Obamacare. We fall into the abyss in Obamacare. We're too poor, but we're too wealthy. We're not poor enough, but we're not rich enough. We're right in the middle. And we live in one of those unfortunate states that opted out of the Medicare expansion. So that really leaves us in the lurch. What do you do in a case like that? Maybe a simple doctor visit might be around $60, and if we have to do it, we'll go. Of course, that digs into resources like grocery money. When you're trying to decide, do we eat or do we treat? Do we treat an illness or do we eat? It's actually a big decision. If I was the sick one, of course it's an easy choice. I wouldn't go. I will almost be at death's door before I'll go to the doctor. When I had dengue fever, I didn't get treatment. I learned everything that I could learn about it, and I treated it myself. We have to literally be crawling on the floor before we think about going to the doctor, and it should not be that way. For the kids, it's different. For Sarah, if she develops a fever or if her symptoms get worse, she will definitely go to the doctor. It's not even a question anymore when it comes to the kids. But for us grown-ups, we have to almost be at death's door before we will take ourselves to the doctor. Because our resources are often that low, it's a decision like that. And there have been times when I thought that I might have something pretty serious. And then you start thinking, which option would... This is going to take a dark turn. Then you start thinking, which option is best? Is it better for me to try to treat whatever this is? Or is it better to just let it run its course? If I don't make it, this is the plan. It's like you have to think of the worst case scenario all the time. It's very stressful, but it's the way we've been doing it for many years now. There have been times when I would go to work and try to offset whatever costs we had, but I wasn't earning enough money for it to be worthwhile. I ended up spending more just so I could go to work. So it wasn't cost effective. It didn't even make sense to do that. And the last time that I was working night shift so we wouldn't have daycare expenses and things like that. That's when I started noticing that I was going blind and I couldn't see, and I was starting to get injured on the job. So I couldn't do that anymore. So it's like you run yourself into the ground. You're not really gaining any traction. So it becomes very frustrating. I think that when Obamacare went into effect, I was hopeful that we were going towards a universal health care system where we can all pay into it, we all benefit from it. And I see it in other countries, the universal health care, that even though their system isn't 100% perfect, those people do not want to give it up. They don't want to do things the way we do things. From what I've heard from them, it seems inhumane, and they wouldn't want to trade with us for anything. Many of them would never ever consider living in the United States because we don't have a system like that set up. I find it quite baffling how there are people in the United States that argue with me to keep the system the way we have it right now. They're in support of paying thousands of dollars in premiums and deductibles for their health care, and they think everybody should be on board with this. I can't for the life of me figure out why that's a good plan. Even back in the days when we had health insurance, it didn't make a lot of sense to me why we were paying so much for this health insurance and then paying more just to use it. It just doesn't make any sense. And why people would be arguing to keep it like that is beyond me. I don't understand it at all. I would like for somebody to explain to me why this system seems to be the one that works. And the system that most, if not all, of the industrialized nations have is somehow worse. Because I feel like if your people are taken care of in that way, just that basic thing that everybody needs, if everybody's taken care of in that way, would they not be more productive, probably less stressed out, maybe even happier? I just wonder why we torture ourselves to keep a system that only works for some people, primarily the wealthy. But then you've got a lot of people in the middle that are completely left out. For what reason, I don't know. They always say, work harder so you can afford to pay for stuff like I do. And I'm like, but doesn't it bother you that you have to pay that much as well? Aren't you outraged a little bit? I think I would be. I think everybody should be questioning why it is the way it is, and maybe we can do something to make it better. I have seen the facts about healthcare costs in the United States and how they're extremely high compared to even Canada. So I just really wonder why people fight to keep this system. Are you part of it? Are you making money off of it? Because I can't see how any of this makes sense. I really want to know why I should work really hard to buy into a system that doesn't really benefit me in any way. It just takes my money, and then I still don't have anything. Hopefully in my lifetime we'll see some kind of progress towards something that will be useful to all of us. I know that some of you live in countries that have universal health care. What do you think? Would you be okay with giving that up and going the way that the United States does? Do you feel okay sharing that cost with everybody so that everybody's covered? Or would you rather just pay for your own coverage and to heck with everybody else, every man for himself? Which system do you think is good? And for those of you in the United States, do you like the way we do things here? Or would you like to see us go towards a universal health care where everybody's covered? Our taxes might go up a bit, but everybody's taken care of, and you're not having to put a second mortgage on your house just to get some kind of treatment. Because I'm thinking, if it's a government thing, the government can negotiate the prices and they'll be a lot cheaper than they would be if we try to pay for it out of our own pocket. Maybe if people just took the time to do those comparisons, you might be able to make a better informed decision about it. You probably would be surprised. If you would like, let me know what you think about today's topic in the comments below. All right, I'm going to stop talking about this. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week, almost Thursday, almost Friday. You guys, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing. Take care out there, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Every person could be you though. A pretty guy with a halo. But who am I kidding, please now? I gotta realize that you